Boom. Ta-da. Welcome to episode 60 of This Week in Hospitality Digital Marketing. I am your host, Lauren Gray, one of, and right now, currently the one and only host of the show currently. As I get all things set up here for our live show. Pardon the delay to all of this. It's a fun. There's Mr. Tim.
Hello, Lauren. How are you?
Oh, behind. I had a conference call with a client that decided to do it at 10 o'clock this morning and give me the notice 5 minutes to 10. And it was one of those, you can't quite leave the, can't say, oh, I'm sorry, I had something else planned. I got to be there. Let's change this to this screen. I'm sorry, I'm just getting the Facebook Live kicked up, and we'll get that over to here. All right. So, in addition to more of the show would not be the show without technical difficulties, right? We have Mr. Dean Schmit, who was supposed to be with us from Derbysoft yet again. He bought himself a new camera because that was what our problem was last time. But he's still, unfortunately, on the same Dell, and it's not recognizing the camera for the show. So he is... yes. Yeah, I know, right? So it's like, wow, this is great. He still get to be on the show. So it is you, me, some hand puppets. And I sent you over some topic links, which actually, by and of themselves. Oh, hey, that's better than mine. Okay, you're the puppet master now.
Years of doing live long and prosper. I think that's what
live long and prosper. Yes.
See, because if you turn it this way, now it's a shark.
Why am I not showing the right screen on this thing? Come on here. Why am I not going on the live show, folks? It's not. I'm sorry. I'm playing with the Facebook Live that's not showing the right screen.
No worries.
Display capture one, which should be this screen, but it's not that screen. Hold on here. Sorry about that. We're going to have technical difficulties whilst I figure this mess out as well. Let's do settings on this bad boy and see which screen we have. Let's go that. There we go. Let's change which screen it recognizes. Yeah, there it is. Almost as good as the real thing. All right. Let's get that moved up so we're not near as there we are. All right. Okay. So switching over to topics, I am totally stoked about some of the content that I had that I found on some of the links. I don't know if you had a chance to peek at some of those yet.
What? Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, sure. I spent hours of research and development on them. Okay. Some of the first topics. Okay, I'm going to send over this link that I'm going to throw up into the screen for us to chat about. And fantastic. We'll throw that up over into the chat box of happiness. I don't know about you, but I'm in my love-hate relationship with Ed because, of course, he's off to Puerto Rico. That's the hate part.
Well, I'll tell you what, it's a good day. I don't know about you're in Dallas today or in Texas?
Yeah,
today?
Finally back in Dallas. Oh, I have a story to tell about that as well. Reason why you're not receiving all these things in a timely fashion as if every week I was. There's a story to tell as to my trip back to the land of the Big D from Florida. We had a bit of a scare. My wife went over and she woke up the day we went to leave for Dallas. Here's my dog. Her eye was severely inflamed and irritated, and we thought, oh gosh, this might be pink eye. We don't know what it is or anything. So we start driving. Mm-hmm. We get as far as Mobile, and about that night, it's too bad and it's terrible. So first thing in the morning, we go to urgent care. It's not pink eye. It could be a detached retina. We're like, what?
Oh my God.
So off we go to the emergency room, who then sends us to an oncologist. And so I got to spend the day in Mobile, Alabama. We finished the drive late yesterday. We got home about midnight, I think, somewhere around that time. But she is doing better. Turns out it wasn't it. It was something had gotten in her eye underneath an abrasion, had cut the inside of her eye. But details. But I got to tell you, first off, Alabama is a beautiful state. I've driven through it now 8 times in one direction or another from Dallas to Florida as I do this trek back and forth. Mm-hmm. But in Mississippi as well, beautiful, beautiful states. The people are as genuine as you're going to find them. and as friendly. When I called a ophthalmologist, am I saying it right? Ophthalmologist, eye doctor. The young girl, right from the office, who was as southern could be. She's, "Oh, sweetie, you don't want to go there. No, you want to go to such and such." And she begins to give me directions, not by address or street. She's like, "You're over by the airport, right? Well, you take a left on the biggest road you see, and you're going to go down a ways, and then you're going to see this beauty parlor to the right. Now, when you see that beauty parlor, I think it's such and such name, you're going to see off to the left-hand side, there's this shopping strip. Well, you're not going there, but you're going to turn there." I'm just, for all the scariness that's going on at the time, I'm just smiling from ear to ear. It's like that. If that isn't the way I grew up, I mean, it's just like, no, you're going to go down by the tree stump. You're
right. Exactly. You're gonna drive down County Road 12 and 1203, really, because it's going to be a 3 or 4 digit number, right?
Yep. And you'll be Leroy's.
And when you get down to where Mr. Johnson's farm used to be, you're going to make a left.
Yeah. Now, I don't know if you know, I don't know Johnson Smith, but he's a nice old man. If you want to stop by, he can give you some fresh lemonade while you're there.
Right, exactly.
And I say this being as proud as I am from being born and raised in Florida, and I know Florida is often considered the northern state that got snapped off and stuck on the bottom, but that is the southeast portion of Florida. Most of Florida is as Georgia, Alabama, Mississippi as it'll come. So yeah, it's just a pleasure. I'm a bit of a freak because I don't like sweet tea, which doesn't go well in the South. Because when you ask for unsweetened tea, they give you the look of, "You're not from here, are you?" I'm like, "No, I really am. I just don't drink sweet tea."
Right.
I had one woman one time in Popeyes. I love Popeyes chicken, by the way. Popeyes, she goes, says, "Here you go. This is sweet tea."
Louisiana Fresh, right?
Oh yeah. And I said, "Well, I don't like sweet tea." She says, "Sugar, you like sweet tea."
That's classic.
I drink that day. Sweet tea.
That's classic. Well, my wife grew up in the middle of nowhere in central Illinois. Shout out to the wife for those of you who know her who are watching the show today. So my wife grew up in a little town in central Illinois. And it's hysterical because when we go visit her dad, who still lives there, we only get there once every couple of years. We don't get to see him as often as we would like. And she hasn't lived there since she was 10, right? I mean, so it's been
a while.
It's been 18 years. And
17 years. She's still not there yet. Yeah.
Right. But it's hysterical because as soon as we get into town, we'll stop for gas or something like that, or maybe a Diet Coke, for instance, right? And as soon as we pull into the local gas station or something like that, somebody will go, "Oh, well, you must be Bob's daughter." Yeah,
it is,
because that's all anybody's been talking about is Bob's family is coming into town from somewhere else. It's small town stuff. It's good stuff.
It is. I still, I had the pleasure when I was a kid to have grown up partially in Nova Scotia with my grandparents. And and they would have to go back a certain amount of time each year. At the time, I guess they still had dual citizenship or whatever available. And we would go back. So I never really had a summer break.
They're legally stay Canadian.
Yeah. I didn't. They did.
You're gone for too long. They take away your Canadian citizenship.
Yeah, they do. They take it away. But going up there in Nova Scotia was on the Bay of Fundy side, and it's like you pull up in the driveway. There's no locks on doors. Back in the day, there was no locks on doors. The cars didn't get locked. Everybody knew everybody, and everybody watched out for everybody. It was really. It goes back to, and just to tie it to the show rather than being reminiscent. It kind of goes back to the true spirit of what hospitality used to be for hotels. Hospitality's recognized you for whom you were, as who you were, not for data about you or what have you. It was really genuinely about, how well could they serve you? How well could they make your stay pleasurable because they knew who you were?
Right. Well, this is something I talk about with my independent clients, and we'll keep this on the show theme for just a second here. Is when we talk about loyalty programs, for so many people, loyalty programs have become about points, right? They are rewards programs, and if you're an independent property, obviously one of the big challenges is, well, we can't really offer points unless we join, Rocket Miles, or we're, an autograph collection or a curio collection or something like that, where we can have, the points system that's available to those properties. But realistically, what you can do as an independent property is you can do recognition programs. And those are really effective. People really like them for those guests who are your valued guests. Actually, hey, we know you're here. We know about you. We know the things you like. And how do you recognize them and do something special for them when they arrive to show that you actually care? And it's exactly what you were just talking about, Lauren, that it's, it's making people feel welcome, right? It's not about, I'm going to buy your loyalty. I'm going to give you a whole bunch of points because you stay here or things like that. I'm just going to treat you well because I know who you are.
Yeah.
Treat you, I shouldn't say well, treat you a little special. Right, we should treat everybody well, but,
or we won't be well in business for years.
Right, exactly. But certainly treat you a little differently if I know something about you.
Silly question: have you, with your flying around, have you noticed that they're using your name more often?
When you say they, do you mean the airlines?
Staff, the airlines, yeah, the front desk. What have you?
That's a good question. That's a hell of a question. I don't know the answer to that. You'd think I would notice that.
I picked up on my last cycle going out to DC for some reason. Everybody that looked at even when I was checking, going out to the plane. Hey, Holly.
Hey, Holly.
Hello.
Thank you. Joining. You
So,
had good.
to answer your question, I haven't noticed it. You have?
Yeah. I've when I was flying, even when I was going over and checking onto the plane, they were like, "Thank you, Mr. Gray," or it's just I was like somebody sent out a memo that said, "Hey, use the name."
By the way, Willow has joined us as well. Hi, Willow. What do you want, sweetie?
Oh.
You need to get off the camera, sweetheart.
I'm messing with our live broadcast so that we can get all of us into the screen. For some reason, my computer probably resized itself, changing. I tell you what, when you move your office and do mobile from one to the other, all your settings change, the world changes. Yeah, there we go. All right, we look better now. All right, so I just noticed it from the last flight cycle that my name was being used pretty repetitively when I was checking in or whenever they saw my information, they referred to it. So I'm getting comments from Dean that he can join us. What we're trying to do is his camera, Holly, just in case you didn't hear it, Dean was supposed to be our guest speaker attempt again today. Hey, Robert's there, but I don't think he can join us. I'll kick it in there and see if anyway. Oh, he can't support broadcast right now. He's on mobile. So what we're thinking about trying to do is me to split my mic up and put him on Skype for audio. So at least we can talk a little bit to the topic, which is the MetaSearch. With it being a budget roll up, I was going to try to get him on. We tried to get him on 3 weeks ago. We had technical issues, and apparently we couldn't get those resolved by the show today either. But we might be able to do an audio with him at the top of the hour. So we might have that as well. So anyway, do we want to tackle the first link I threw out there, or do you want to pick another one? Because I had a bag of them today.
Yeah, no problem. That's great. Which was the first one? Hold on.
Expedia. Sorry. Yeah. The visual recognition, the facial recognition use that Expedia used in their Hawaiian tourism program. I picked this up off an email that I'm sure like you guys, I sign up for every email and every webinar that floats around in the hopes of seeing and doing what everybody else is doing. But they have facial recognition that they're using. So that
I didn't read it. So what happens?
Well, okay. Truly unique showcase. So out of this, you're looking at your computer and you give the computer permission to use your camera, and what you look at on the screen dictates what they now show next.
Cool. Potentially cool. Potentially creepy. Where's
I think
the data
I'm on the
go?
creepy side right now. I'm a little on the creepy side right now. I think it's cool, but I'm a little creeped out, like knowing that people can do that without your permission anyway, because everybody tapes over their cameras. I thought it was kind of just an interesting. Hadn't thought of that kind of thing.
Sure, it's an interesting idea. I mean, the first thing I want to know is where's the data go, right? Is there data stored anywhere? Does it capture anything, or does it just use it at that moment and then it's all thrown away, right?
Mm-hmm. It can't be thrown away because it's used for the future.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's cool conceptually. I like the idea of it in terms of doing it.
Sorry, I'm muting.
No, that's okay. I just had the same thing with Edison. I see the.
But I'll tell you what my biggest problem is with it. So first off, I want to be really nice about this because it's always easy to say no, right? It's always easy to say, these things are crap, right? So conceptually, it's an interesting idea. My question is, have you all seen the data about Pokemon Go and how Pokemon Go, when it launched, obviously it was most rapidly adopted thing like ever. Like it got to 1 billion users faster than anything in history. And since it's been out, once it was out for about 6 weeks, 8 weeks, something like that, it started shedding users incredibly rapidly. In fact, its use is down by something like, Robert, you're driving us crazy with the thing on the side. We're getting one word at a time.
One word at a time, yeah.
That's not distracting. So nonetheless, it shed users like crazy, like super fast, because there's no there, right? I'm not a gamer. I don't use the thing, but I've talked to my kids. I've talked to other people who are gamers who use it and the like, and they're like, it's not a great game. It's interesting at first when you can wander around and see the stuff, but once you actually start collecting Pokemon, once you go to the Pokemon gyms, once you go to the Pokestops, whatever, there's nothing to do. So it has no legs, right? It has no like long-term value in any way. And that's why people are stopping playing it. And I look at something like this and I'm like, okay, so this is cool conceptually, but where's the long-term? Like, does this make me want to do anything? Does this bring me back again and again? Does this engage me repeatedly? And if the answer is yes, having not used it, they just launched it today. I'm looking at the article while I'm saying this. So I haven't seen it. I want to be really fair about this. Maybe it's incredibly cool and people will want to use it again and again. But if it draws people in for one time and then they never open it again.
Yep. I'm gonna probably irritate some people when I say this, that we love sitting around and talking about how we've learned from our previous mistakes. The most one to point out is from 2001, allowing OTAs to take over our inventory. And we've learned that. We've learned we are never going to do that. And what happened in 2008? We were knocking on their door, banging on their door to please take our inventory and sell it for us again. So obviously we didn't learn the lesson from that. Then I want to be fair. I know what you're saying. I'm going to cut you off out there for 1 second. It's not that we didn't learn the lesson. It's that we didn't prep for the next downturn well enough. There you go. Excellent point.
Right? People still had to pay their notes at the end of the month. So it's not that they didn't learn the lesson. They knew it was a bad idea to go back in 2008. They just didn't have a better choice in many cases because they hadn't prepped well enough for the next downturn. But we'll come back to that.
Yep. No, that's an excellent point to it. And then we talk about, and we have been rattling this cage for a while, not us, but we as an industry, quit chasing the shiny object. Matter of fact, we've had it as topic for ourselves several times. Stop the shiny object. Holly, we had it at the retreat when we were talking with the Digital Marketing Council with HSMAI. All the large brands were saying, hey, quit going for the newest next thing. Do the basics first. Know what your resources are within your relationships already. Do well with what you're capable of working on now. And then once you're doing that, if you need to optimize beyond that, chase down the newer stuff. And what happens? Pokemon pops out. And to your point, boom, 7 weeks away. It is the buzz of conversation of what should we do with this? Should we put in more power stations and how are we going to monetize this? Because everybody chased this shiny object. And now it's gone. And then I was with the Revenue Council's call a week ago or 2 weeks ago, I think it was. And they're talking. It was a joke. It was the standing room joke of, Pokemon. Yeah, well, we're glad we went over and did that. We chased the shiny object again, and we're now talking about the fact that next year is flat, and potentially, according to some REITs, backwards. And we're talking about the fact that we are plateauing, and we are going to be looking at a harder time, or at least a more aggressive marketing opportunity time. And what are we doing to prep for that now? Because these things are going to happen again. We're going to chase the shiny object, or we're going to find ourselves flat-footed like we did between 01 and 08, and we're going to have to do the simple, easiest thing, which is I don't have an intelligent decision as to what to do as a solution. So I know people are like, well, yeah, okay, you can say that, but we kind of follow the same pattern. History repeats itself.
Right. No, you're absolutely right.
But anyway, so that was my little soapbox today.
I was at the Sales Advisory Council meeting this week in Chicago. So, a bunch of sales leaders, which with HSMAI, and on the group sales side, I think it was Marriott who said 60% of their business is now coming through, I guess it's Vista now. Vista bought Lanyon, bought Cvent. And So currently, it's at maybe 10% cost of sales, but if you have 60% of an industry, your costs are going up. And so we're going to see the same thing on the group side. And we're going down the same path. We're not doing anything to eliminate, to make that have its place, as opposed to 60%. 60%, that's a lot.
Mm-hmm. And with anything, once they realize they have the leverage, they're going to, as you say, raise the prices because they have less competition to it. But it actually speaks to something, boy, I'm just in a negative mood today, ominous, and that is the de-training or the de-intelligence creating salesperson, that it's simpler to log in and see what's being handed to you than it is to know how to actually sell the product yourself. And unfortunately, the brands wanted you in that position. The brands, remember the centralization the brands tried to do for the sales strategies? Remember, they don't worry, hire, and this sounds terrible, warm body, put them in a chair. We'll give them all the tools that the WYSIWYGs will figure out. Okay, ask a salesperson to do a displacement analysis. Ask any of them. I bet you 1 out of 10 know how to do a displacement analysis. That used to be bread and butter sales management stuff.
Right.
And now,
so Robert's chiming in one word at a time. Sorry, Holly, go ahead. Finish what you're
doing. Morse code. No, he's doing Morse code. Go, you go ahead. Go ahead, Tim, please. Go ahead. Go ahead. Flags. What is it when you do flags?
Semaphore.
Semaphore. Thank you. That would have bugged me if he didn't say it.
Sorry, Holly.
So what is Robert saying? Higher comps.
Well, let Holly say what she was going to say, and then
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
We'll go to Robert then.
I lost my track. Oh, no, it was just that the same thing's happening on the group sales side. And that was a big topic of conversation, Lauren, what you were talking about. It's sort of a two-pronged problem. One, salespeople, they've gotten rid of all the admins over the last 10 years. So,
cost saving.
Salespeople are doing all of their own everything. Supposedly it's automated. They're doing it through Delphi or whatever, but they're still generating their own contracts and proposals and that sort of stuff. So they're doing more admin work. More stuff is coming into them. And so the traditional salesperson who's managing relationships and going out and finding business, there's no time for it anymore. And so they're just relying more